I'm such a noob. Hello, it's David. Now, the universal wipes are out today because I have something utterly filthy in more ways than one to show you. Been on eBay and I did a silly thing. I have broken my Amiga duck. This is purportedly a loft find. It's in a terrible state. The chap selling it had 3 to go, not tested, absolutely no idea what's going on here. But I thought I'd take a punt because with my work on PyStorm, which more details up here, I can only really see if it works on the ST. I didn't have an Amiga to actually try it out on to know whether my changes were breaking things. So you can see the absolute filth here. So I said more ways than one. Well, you know, it's an Amiga, and I'm an ST kind of a guy, and well, I feel dirty. I do genuinely feel dirty. Anyway, so first things first, let's give this a bit of a wipe down so that I don't catch plague. I can see a lot of mold spores all over this. Anyway, I'm going to give this a bit of a scrub down just so I don't catch anything horrible, and then we will spin it over, open it up, and see what we're dealing with. I don't have a power supply for this. Not a lot. I don't have a monitor cable, but I understand that they have a composite out. I think it's a monochrome composite out on the back, similar to the Archimedes. So I should at least be able to see whether we get any life out of it once I've figured out a way to power the damned thing up. Of course, if we open it up and everything is corroded to pieces by a battery, then, well, I may have bitten off more than I can chew. But for starters, I'm going to get scrubbing. Okay, now there were 3 boards, available on the advert, and 2 of them had great big memory expansions in here, and this one only had a small memory expansion. This one didn't have the side door over here, nor this trapdoor thing here. But this looked decidedly less dodgy than the other 2, so that was my deciding factor for this one. They're all the same price, none of them tested. Chances are none of them work. And this one also had the highest, if you can quite see that, this one had the highest serial number. Where's that light coming from? So, yeah, 1094895. So, just took an absolute punt. Seal's broken. Took an absolute punt that this one would probably be the least likely to be corroded to death by a battery. But I can see some general gooiness around there, so that may have been a poor punt on my part. It's obviously been stored sitting on its base, because actually the bottom is considerably cleaner than the top. So I think this one was probably at the bottom of the pile, or was just sat around for ages. Yeah, there's a lot less coming off the bottom than the top. I suspect this has to come out first, doesn't it? I'm quite reluctant. I don't really know where to put fingers to do this. Can I jimmy the connector a little bit? Okay, some movement there. Yep. Genuinely never owned an Amiga, never really worked on an Amiga, never really... Yeah, we've got a leaker. Yep. So this may very well get, I don't even know what that is. I presume that's a memory expansion, is it? I don't know, let's look those up. Yeah, and there's a bit of goo here, and I can see a bit of green on there, but hopefully it's localized. The board, I can see there's a green board under there. I don't know what that is. Is that the keyboard? Keyboard PCB? Yeah, that's probably the keyboard, isn't it? That doesn't look. And there's a metal can in here that you can't quite see. Yep. So we've got a bit of goo down here, and this metal can just inside here. There's evidence of corrosion having begun. Yeah, the keyboard could be a goner. But you see, I don't know if you can just pick up the little tinges of green that I can see there on the pin headers. There we go. Yeah, look at that. That is starting to go. Yeah, we'd have to get the lemon juice or the white vinegar out to say that properly if we want to do this properly. But okay, I'm an AMRAM X issue 3. I think X is perhaps the appropriate term there. I'm going to put that at the other end of the shed to my STFM board. The old Clinell wipes going to do their job. Right, let's have a go on these screws. Yeah, so well, as I was just saying a second ago, I've never had an Amiga, never worked on an Amiga, never really interacted with an Amiga, so I don't know what I'm doing here. So this is as much an adventure for me as I hope it is for you, as evidenced by the fact that I don't know how to get the screws out. Well, I'm here. I'm just going to have a quick reel on the back here. So I've got a monophono port, which my guess would be that's the that would be the black and white composite. Well, it wouldn't be composite, would it? Composite would be if it were colour. So I don't know what that is. Anyway, basically a PAL, I would assume, output, which hopefully we can do something with. We've got this weird Commodore square DIN style socket there, 5-pin DIN style socket. We've got a conventional parallel port, a conventional serial port, a disk drive port. That also 25, can't tell just from close inspection. We've got a couple of audio ports and a couple of joystick ports. So that all looks fairly conventional and not particularly controversial. And none of them, by the way, look green, which is frankly a good sign, but it may all be a bit too little too late. I'd like to thank this video's sponsor and the supplier of my project PCBs, PCBWay. PCBWay aren't just about PCBs either, although they are extremely good at that. They also offer component assembly, CNC machining, 3D printing, and a variety of other manufacturing services. They have a number of community-focused offerings too. The Shared Project Hub is an open platform for makers to share and exchange their ideas, and the PCBWay store is a great place to pick up assembled modules. I mean, who wouldn't want a musical Tesla coil? So many thanks again to PCBWay, and I recommend you have a look at some of the links included down below. Right, so let's flop this over. Are there catches there at the front? I don't know. I don't actually. Yeah, as I say, I've probably seen Gadget 164 do this so many times, and I've not really paid any attention to it, I'm afraid. Okay. Well, that wasn't too bad. No obvious signs of damage on the inside here. It's a bit grimy again. I think this is going to need to go in the shower. Okay, we've got a chip out of the corner down here. Ah, crikey, I don't care. My STFM doesn't even have a case. Case is an absolute bonus. Oh, and there's a little crack. I just caught my finger on that little crack on the side here. It's had a whack. Oh, yeah, ooh, ooh, ooh. Might just tape that quickly so I don't lose that. Have I got the... Just hold that in place with a bit of tape until such time as I can... I feel like attempting to patch that up with a bit of super glue. Right, okay, this is grimy. I've dripped a load of liquid into this, so it's it probably does need a proper clean before I try and use this in anger. But hopefully there'll be enough here to be able to test if it works. I don't know whether an Amiga. Oh gosh, I don't know whether an Amiga would boot up without a keyboard. The ST kind of boots up without a keyboard, although one of the lines that is normally pulled high isn't, and you end up driving interrupts all the time, and you get that nasty continuous key press. It's like a key's being held down. You can avoid that instantly by just fitting a pull-up resistor to the receive line on the ST, and that will then boot up happily. But yeah, I don't know about the Amiga. Right, that's the keyboard connector in there. Let's just gently give that a wiggle. Okay, that looks in reasonable nick. I wonder if I could write an adapter to convert the Amiga's keyboard to the ST's format and really wind some people up. That would be naughty. What horrors await within? Okay, all right. Well, I'll tell you what. That's not bad. That doesn't look bad at all. I can still see green here on the expansion pins, but I can't see any obvious signs of corrosion on the board proper. We may just have got to this in the nick of time. If it's started working its way down the pins. I think these could do with a bit of a vinegaring and then a bit of a soak. But okay, that really does not look too shabby. So that looks like 512K of RAM. I believe that's. I think these are 2 bits a piece or something, aren't they? So we've got. No, there must be 4 bits a piece, mustn't they? Yeah, so. That would be half a meg, and presumably the other 4, if populated, would be a full meg. And was there some kind of parity chip down here, maybe, or some kind of glue logic? I'm not sure, not 100% sure. Anyway, so that's looking all right. The 68,000 is over here and looks in good order. It says it's an 8 megahertz version, so P8 on the end here. It's plastic package, I believe, 8 megahertz, which is what you'd expect for this rubbish slow 7 megahertz machine. Over here in this back corner it says video output, Paula, Denise, Odd, CIA. I'm not sure what this big flappy thing is here. The cap's actually looking fairly decent nick. I'm guessing those are audio. Oh no, video that says, doesn't it? They might be. Yeah, okay, they might be something to do with the video circuitry, but they look all right. That one looks fine. This one stood up here, leaning over that. Can't see any obvious leakage from there. That looks fairly promising. What's this big? Oh, that's Paula, apparently. Hello, Paula. Named after Miss Abdul, no doubt. And what have we got over here? This is Gary. Well, too early for Gary Barlow, so I'm guessing that's one of the Radio 1 DJs. What was his name? Gary... God. No, not Gary Pierce. What was his name? Never mind, I am wittering. Right, there's an even CIA over there. Under the floppy. Yeah, no, can't see anything wrong over there either. So I think we've been extremely lucky here. That cap, yeah, can't see any corrosion around the bottom of that. But here you see on these pins, there we go. Look at the green. Look at the green of doom. So we've been extremely lucky, I think, that this has been found when it has. I'm going to have to, yeah, we're going to have to make sure that that doesn't go too much further. But I think that's not going to be for today, because I want to just see whether we can get anywhere with it. So right, that's massively impressive. Now, should I lift out this floppy drive and have a look underneath? I think I probably ought. Can you just loosen this and lift it, maybe? Okay, no. I saw there were some screws on the bottom, wasn't there? Right, I better get on with that. Now, I don't have any Amiga discs, so even if the floppy were to work, I'd have no way of knowing, because I wouldn't know what to do in order to get to the point where I could test it. So what I may do is steal the Gotek off my STFM here. Well, I've only got one Gotek between the STE and STFM, so I might steal that actually and put the Gotek in, because then I can presumably download a disk image and go from there. I don't know what the ROMs are in this. Maybe I've got a ROM that I could flash. Okay, so how does that look? That's is there a little bit of corrosion on the might just be filth, and I think that could very well just be abject filth, along with everything else in this video. This is filthier than some of my son's special interest videos. Copyright 1988, so quite late in the day. Don't know when the A500 Plus came out. 88. That was only a year before the STE came out. So yeah, this was okay. So what sort of ROM is that? Yeah, don't recognise the writing. I presume that's a custom sharp trip. Yeah, it's got CBM branding on it. So I need to look that up. I might need to invest in an EEPROM version of that in order to be able to do any debugging. Although I suppose, of course, I could have plugged my PyStorm into here, and cheat, get a ROM in that way. Oh, I felt a little bit loose. Just going around the board, pressing things in. Right, we need to seriously consider then how we are going to get power into this board. Right, so eBay has delivered me one of these little gadgets. This will be one of those weird-ass square 5-pin DIN style things. I don't know, are they DINs, the Deutsche Informatik something or other, isn't it? Do they count as DIN if they're square? I don't know. No idea. Anyway, right, so it's delivered me one of these, which I believe and hope will assemble into a viable Amiga. Probably that way. Yeah, what are we thinking? There we go, a viable Amiga power plug. all I need is some power to put in it. So what I was thinking of is to bring in my Falcon ATX power adapter that I made when I was building DFB1 information up here, which let me run my Falcon. This is the Falcon connector. This is an ATX power connector socket and power switch on the fly lead. This was let me debug or work with the lid off my Falcon for a very, very long time with my DFB1 prototypes in there. So hopefully there's enough cabling coming off here that I've got sufficient voltages to solder on here, and I can have a Falcon or Amiga adapter. So cool. Can you hear the rain coming in there? So yeah, let's well, let me do a bit of a search on what needs to go where, and I'll see if I can find myself the voltages on this. Okay, so had a quick look on the web, and what it looks like we've got here is plus 12 on the top right here, ground, sorry, well that's top left as we're looking, ground, top right, plus 5 down here, minus 12 in the middle, and this is a shield ground, so I'm going to treat that just as ground. So when we turn this around for the soldering direction, I need to reverse all of that in my brain. So I'm going to mount this something like that. Now, on the ATX side, let's just maybe I can put them out one at a time. So on the ATX side, this is a bit hard to find because this is a socket, so we have to bear that in mind. But because we've got the power switch across these two, we can make sure that any diagram I find online has the power switch in this place, and therefore I will be fine. So if we start with the socket pointing to us like this, up here we're going to have 3.3 minus 12. So the second one down is minus 12. Then we've got a ground, and then we've got our power on connector. So that is correct. So our minus 12 is going to be the second one down. So that's this black one here. So if I can figure out which one that is from my bundle and getting that pulled out. So that's going through there. So that, there we go. That should be our minus 12. And that will that goes to the center. However, what I have to make sure that I do is to thread all of these through both. Actually, this one has to go first, the big cover, then that one. So I need to make sure that all my wires thread through there before I start soldering, otherwise trouble will ensue. So I think it's time I stripped these. Just a light tinning to make it easy to slot into the center there. I may have made that too long actually. That should be fine, I thought. So that's what, about 3mm. I need to strip them. Maybe I'll just solder that one into place. Let's dab a bit of my flux. This is my liquid flux. This hopefully won't turn to green sludge. So what I'm going to do is try filling the hole with solder. If it will go in, and then I can dab my wire in, hopefully. There we go. How's that? we go. Okay, that seems a feasible technique. Sorry, I think I'm obscuring that with my hand, aren't I? But there we go. I believe we are in. Okay, so bringing in my unwieldy ATX power supply. There we go. Well, actually, first things first, I probably am going to check that nothing is registering as a short that ought not be. Let's just see whether any of these do. There we go. So those are ground on the Falcon end. So those should all be, that should be none, yeah. So those are all open. Those are the 5-volt ones. So 5-volt. Those are the ground. That's, I believe, the 12. Okay, so ground should measure to, looking at it this way around, I think this is ground here. Good. Shield down here should be ground. Good, and none of the others should be. Might get that initial beep while it internal capacitance charges up. That's saying 47 ohms, so that's not a direct short. Okay, good. So that's positive. So then this was plus 12 down here. Plus 12 should be this one in the corner up here, I believe. Yep. Good. So then 5, which is at this end, that should correspond to the bottom corner here. That's quite a high resistance, that one. That's better. Maybe I just had a bad connection. Yep, nothing on that side. Good. Right, now I don't have minus 12 there, so minus 12 I'm going to have to... I don't think I've got an easy way of doing that. I think what we'll do is we'll turn it on and measure some voltages. Hopefully nothing goes bang. So here, bring my switch in here, and I'm going to put the power, the mains in the back here, and if something goes pop, then it's bad news all round. Okay, well the light's dimmed. That was briefly worrying, but nothing's gone bang bang. So we ought to be, that should be ground. That should be 5, nothing doing. Right, we're going to throw the switch. Don't hear anything. But there we go, 5.2, 5.2, 5.2, this should be 12. There we go. Right, so I'm going to keep that ground connection there, and we'll go around these once again. So it should be 12 in the top corner, 6.5. That's interesting. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. I was measuring between 5. There we go. That is 12. This one ought to be 5. Yep, 5.2. And then we should have a minus 12 in the middle. That's going to be harder to reach. Minus 12. Yep. Okay. Good. Happy enough with that, and we should be seeing 0 on the sides. I think we're good to go. So I'm going to unplug the mains because I just am paranoid like that, and let's see if we can assemble this this contraption. Some of these wires are a bit shorter than the other ones. Right, so looking at this, we need obviously that to go that way. There's some notches for it to slot in there, a little bit of... Obviously the cable's meant to come all the way up there, but since we don't have a cable, then no. This one should come in there like that, provide a relatively square looking fascia. And well, this should just slide over the top. Just. Let's push that down a bit. Be helpful if I could get that. Please tell me I've done that the right way around. Yeah, there's no way that that can go. Oh, maybe it's meant to clip in. Maybe it is meant to go in that way around, and I've completely screwed the pooch. Uh-oh. And I thought I was being so clever. Life, I decided, was too short. I'm such a noob. Okay, there is basically no pressure relief, no strain relief on this. Perhaps I could cable tie. That's maybe a good idea. Let's cable tie that. You watch. None of this will work, and I have to take it all apart again. In fact, to that extent, I'm only going to half push that on, just in case. Yeah, it is a complete disaster, and it's all back to square one. But what I am going to do again, I think, is reconnect the power supply. Do not like the way the lights dim every time I do that. And just throw the switch one more time to make sure nothing goes pop. No obvious pop. Right. I think it's time for the excitement. Right, so I've got my little screen out. Now this is a terrible screen, as we've seen before, and it's definitely not 576 lines. It's probably only like 240p, but anyway, or probably 240i. But we can, it does at least take composite, and we can hopefully get a picture out. So what I've done, just rigged it up to my Falcon for the time being. Going to throw the switch, just to make sure, there we go. So just to prove that composite is working, there we go. Atari Falcon, 128 megabytes of fast RAM. Fine. So screen's working. So that's that one. Let's wire it up. Okay, so power supply is connected up here. My plug is gone in nicely. There's the composite. That's coming into here. We've got, let's just check that that's, there we go, that is alive and well. I'm going to try it without the floppy, without the keyboard. Don't have anything to put in the floppy anyway. Let's throw the switch and see how she goes. If we get any signal here, or does it flash? I can't remember. Does the Amiga flash when it boots? Let's try. Let's try. Okay. Oh, well, that's good. We've got a white screen. Ah, okay. Okay. Oh, is that the flashing? Is that normal? Is that a video issue? Oh, 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 workbench. Oh, maybe that's my mate. Damn it! Might have a bad cable. Workbench. 1.3. Well, that's good. She flies. What do I do now? For 4.7, that's a bit low. That is a bit low. That might be my crappy cable. Okay, I might need to get a proper cable. Let's have a look. Let's try a chip over here nearer where the power comes in. Yep, 4.6. That's pretty rubbish. I'm going to go and clean the keyboard some more. The truth of the matter is, if you look at this keyboard, this is clearly where there was alkaline ingress into the machine, and you can see up here through this plastic shielding here, the traces do not look great under there, and I think there's evidence of corrosion on this little sub-circuit board here. So I think this is going to go away and have a soak. I do need to do something about this corrosion down here, although I probably won't approach that straight away. And I think what I'll do is I'll try and get a Gotek in here, do some research, find out whether I need to do anything special for that, and we'll give it a try next time. But for now, for spares or repair, I think that's a double thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you next time.